I didn't cry when I found out. I just sat there staring at the paperwork, feeling something inside me go quiet. It wasn't just betrayal, it was theft of trust, of security, of the future I thought we were building together. 11 years, a house, joint accounts, shared plans, and suddenly none of it was mine in the way I believed. The loss wasn't only emotional, it was financial, legal, intentional. Everything had been documented, signed, filed. He didn't make a mistake. He prepared. What hurt the most wasn't what he did, it was how calmly he did it. And the moment I understood the full picture, I realized something else. He thought I would never look closely. He thought I would never fight back. He was wrong. My name is Sophia Carter. I am 35 years old. Before all of this, I was steady. I worked full time. I managed teams, solved problems, balanced budgets. I was good at noticing details in spreadsheets, in contracts, and in supply chains. At home, I stopped noticing details. I trusted him with the same efficiency I used at work. We split responsibilities. He handled long-term investments. I handled day-to-day expenses. It felt practical, mature. We weren't dramatic people. No screaming fights, no broken dishes. We were stable, or so I believed. There were small things, looking back. He became protective of the mail, said he was organizing tax records. He suggested refinancing the house for better rates. I signed where he indicated. We'd done paperwork together for years. I didn't read every page. I trusted the summary he gave me. He opened a separate business account for consulting work. I thought it was smart, diversifying income. He stayed late more often, not suspiciously late, just enough to feel adult and busy. The first clear crack came on a Tuesday afternoon. I needed a copy of our mortgage statement for a work-related financial disclosure. I logged into our shared banking portal. The mortgage wasn't there. I refreshed the page. Still gone. I assumed it was a system error. I searched for my account number. Nothing. Then I searched by his name only. There it was. Same property address, different ownership structure. Only his name is attached. My hands went cold. I told myself there had to be a clerical mistake. Maybe it was temporary during refinancing. So I pulled the digital documents, and that's when I saw it. A quitclaim deed, signed by me, notarized, filed 8 months earlier, transferring my share of the house to him. I didn't remember signing it, but the signature was mine. The room felt smaller. I scrolled further. There was an amended mortgage agreement, sole borrower, him, and attached to it, a clause stating the property was now tied to a line of credit I had never seen before. I stared at my own name on that document. I had signed something, I just hadn't known what it really was. That was the moment, the exact second, when I understood that my marriage was not what I thought it was. I didn't confront him that night. I watched him instead. He came home, kissed my forehead, asked about dinner. I studied his face, searching for guilt. There was none. Just routine. I barely slept. The next morning, I requested full property records from the county database. Twist 1. The house had been appraised quietly 6 months earlier. Twist 2. A home equity line of credit had been opened for nearly $200,000. Twist 3. The funds had already been withdrawn. Twist 4. The destination account was tied to his consulting business. I dug into that business next. It wasn't consulting. It was a registered LLC created a year ago. Sole owner him. The mailing address wasn't our home. It was an apartment downtown. I searched the address. Small, 1 bedroom. Active lease. My chest tightened. Financial betrayal is one thing, but parallel life betrayal is something else entirely. I checked our joint savings, lower than it should have been. Then I found automatic transfers, small, consistent amounts redirected monthly into the LLC account. For almost a year. He hadn't panicked. He hadn't stolen in a rush. He had built an exit, using our house, using my signature, using my trust. The deepest twist came 3 days later. I met with a real estate attorney quietly during my lunch break. I showed him the quitclaim deed. He asked one question: "Did you knowingly sign this?" "No." He studied it again. "It's legally valid," he said carefully. "But if you were misled about the nature of the document, that's another issue." Misled. The word settled heavily. I went home that night and stood in our kitchen. The counters I picked, the cabinets I painted, the mortgage I believed I co-owned. Legally, I own none of it anymore. And he had done it without raising his voice once. I felt something shift inside me. Not rage, clarity. For 2 weeks, I said nothing. I gathered documents, downloaded statements, copied emails. I checked timestamps. Many of the transfers happened on days he told me he was at client meetings. I hired a forensic accountant. Quietly, the findings were precise. He had redirected approximately $312,000 in combined assets over 12 months. The apartment lease began 9 months ago. Utilities in his name. Insurance policy updated. Beneficiary changed from me to estate. That one almost broke me. Not another woman. Not romance. Just removal. I wrestled with the moral weight of what I was about to do. Part of me wanted to confront him, to scream, to demand an explanation. But confrontation would warn him. He had planned carefully. So would I. I retained a litigation attorney. We filed for divorce first. Grounds: financial fraud, misrepresentation, marital asset concealment. I requested an emergency injunction preventing liquidation of the LLC assets. We filed a motion challenging the quitclaim deed under fraudulent inducement. Every step was legal, documented, measured. I didn't feel powerful. I felt steady. He was served at work. He called me immediately. His voice wasn't angry. I was shocked. "This is extreme," he said. "No," I replied calmly, "this is accurate." I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I let the paperwork speak. The court ordered financial disclosure. He delayed, then complied, and the lies began collapsing quietly. The LLC had not generated legitimate income. It was a holding structure for redirected marital funds. The apartment wasn't for business meetings. It was for living separately while appearing married. He had been planning to sell the house within a year. After appreciation, after draining equity, and leave me with what he assumed was minimal leverage. But forensic accounting is patient. Bank trails are permanent. The judge reviewed the transfers, reviewed the deed circumstances, reviewed email evidence where he summarized documents vaguely before I signed them. No shouting in court, just facts. The quitclaim deed was ruled signed under material misrepresentation. It was voided. The house returned to marital status. The line of credit debt assigned solely to him. The LLC assets frozen, then classified as marital property subject to division, with penalties considered. His professional reputation began to erode next. Not publicly dramatic, just quiet. Financial misconduct in divorce proceedings tends to surface in background checks. His employer placed him on review. Promotions paused. Colleagues withdrew. He wasn't destroyed. But he was exposed, and exposure is its own consequence. The divorce finalized 11 months after I first opened that banking portal. I retained half of all recoverable assets. The house was sold. Proceeds divided, with adjustments in my favor due to documented fraud. He kept the apartment, and the debt attached to his decisions. The hardest part wasn't winning. It was accepting that the man I trusted had been building an escape using my silence as cover. People ask if I feel satisfied. I don't. I feel informed. I feel older. I feel precise. Betrayal doesn't always arrive with shouting or lipstick on a collar. Sometimes it arrives in organized folders, signed pages, refinance futures. He thought I would never look closely. He thought I would stay agreeable. He misunderstood one thing: calm. But I am not careless. And in the end, the documents he trusted to protect him became the evidence that ended him. Some betrayals scream. Mine signed its name. And so did I,